Rent-A-Girlfriend is arguably the most hated and the most clowned series right now. It is so hated, in fact, they might even forgive Sword Art Online for its past sins, so it's kinda like what happened to Baby and YouTube Rewind. Although, this was not the case before. Basically, the reception went from being somewhat mixed where you either love it or hate it, into an actual bane of any existence that needed to be purged with fire. And I didn't know why. For some context, I had only watched the first 2 episodes back in 2020, when this channel wasn't even a thing. I never tried to watch another episode because of online classes.
Oh, hello there!
And yeah, it's also the bad year. But when I was on a YouTube hiatus, studying for my engineering licensure exams, videos of basically trashing the series are blowing up left and right. Like, it was a massive discussion, but because I was too busy, plus I didn't even finish the anime, I never even bothered to care. Until now. I am curious. Like, what happened? What went wrong? How could this show be any worse than it already was? I wanted to see and experience how low this series could go. So despite all of the former fans withered and trapped in their cycle of suffering, pleading and begging others to not try Rent-A-Girlfriend, it's the worst mistake of their lives, I still decided to watch and read the whole thing. Because I hate myself and I need a therapist.
Get some help.
And so I entered the first stage of hell by watching the first season of the anime with our main character Kazuya, who got dumped by his girlfriend Mami. And as he is suffering from a breakup from a 1-month relationship, Kazuya did what any normal man should do to cope with the heartbreak. He decided to rent a girlfriend.
He said it! He said it!
Which is apparently an actual thing in Japan. This is where he met Chizuru. But during their second meeting, because of an emergency, and frankly his stupidity, this led to him saying that they're an actual couple to their grandmothers who are friends with each other, coincidentally. So now they have to pretend to be a couple in front of them until Kazuya has found a true girlfriend. With payment, of course. And in case you didn't notice by now, not only Kazuya is a loser, he is also a terrible person. Now, I don't really think he's a bad person, but oh my god, he really does the dumbest shit in order to feed his fragile ego, which either makes the problem worse for them or makes him look more like a loser than he already is. Like getting mad at a rental girlfriend for being a rental girlfriend.
What did he say fuck me for?
Or Kazuya telling his friends that they're a couple as a way of showing off for the second time, because this f***head just really can't help himself. So now they have to be cautious at all times, considering they're neighbors, coincidentally, and they go to the same college, coincidentally. And then when Mami found out about this, who is actually a two-faced bitch, she passive-aggressively insulted Kazuya, and Kazuya let that happen.
Come on now, dawg.
And he still tried to get in on with her anyway. Then there's the beach episode, where Kazuya and Chizuru's friends were there, coincidentally. And throughout the trip, Mami has been leading Kazuya on, giving him false hope about their relationship. And this is where he met Chizuru. And because of being at the wrong place at the wrong time, they now have to be in couple mode. So, without an opening, Mami had to pretend that she was asking for help in order to lure Kazuya in. Then this is when she kissed him. And immediately right after this, he announced that they were thinking of breaking up, making them look stupid, got punched, which he rightfully deserved, and his excuse is that he never fell in love with someone that hard. That's why he can't let go. My brother in Christ, she just embarrassed you in front of everyone. Although on paper, this sounds like a good idea because this will solve the problem that they're in right now, but it really does show here how miserable Kazuya is. His insecurities, indecisiveness, impulsiveness, and horniness always get the best of him, and I don't think he's changing anytime soon. And speaking of horniness, the dude is ultra horny. The anime really just spent a couple of minutes showing us him choking the worm. That's a couple of minutes too much if you ask me. Even the ED of season 1 is an innuendo of Kazuya jacking off while the girls are cheering him on, which is great. So now I can watch this while reflecting on my life choices that led me here. And then there's this time when Chizuru and a handsome guy are walking together. Then Kazuya, who doesn't have any business with her, decided to stalk her. Then during the stalking, he had several short fantasies of Chizuru with that same guy. Now I get that this is also an ecchi anime, meaning there will be mentions and implication of sexual matters, fan service and all that. But what fans is this bullshit serving to? Like almost every fan service here is a reminder of how much of a loser Kazuya is. And with all of this, what does Chizuru, a woman who is portrayed to be this mature person, a woman who is portrayed to know common sense, say about all of this? Well, She is only mature when the author wants her to be. Like, if she really is mature like what the anime is telling me, then how could she not tell that mommy is a bitch and instead told Kazuya that he did the right thing when she already saw a glimpse of what kind of a person she is? And then at the stalking episode, instead of being creeped out, as she should, why would she still give him a present? I know he saved her and all of that stuff, but he stalked you. He stalked you. And also, I'm not kidding here. This scene also gave one of the biggest early signs that there was a romantic development between the two. Like, if the author really thinks this is how a mature woman acts, then I am legitimately concerned. And for the incels defending this, saving someone from drowning doesn't give you permission to stalk that person.
I'm going to jail!
In case you think that's not an obvious thing to know. Moving on with that, we have Ruka. If I could describe Ruka's purpose in the series in one sentence, it's going to be only here just to cause unnecessary drama. Like, she has no reason to be here. In fact, if you remove her from the series, the only thing gone here is her and the headaches any reader should have not experienced. I mean, the only reason she's here is that she has her own plot. She apparently has a condition where she has a lower heart rate than normal, that she will collapse if she does any physical activity or does things that make you excited, thus living a boring life. But one day, she decided to find that someone who will make her heart race, thus dating several men by being a rental girlfriend, until she found Kazuya, who made her heart race by being close to her. Which of course explains the reason why she could run with no problems and why falling in love has to be the only way. You know that one popular one-shot manga from the Nisekoi author about a girl who can only live from a limited amount of heartbeats, and instead of living a boring life, she decided to enjoy life instead, like going out, having fun, and falling in love, thus increasing her heart rate, shortening up her already short lifespan? The author basically said, "What if I make it bad?" Thus, the Hellspawn was born. And this is no exaggeration. She blackmailed Kazuya into dating her, or she will reveal that Chizuru is a rental girlfriend. She would force Kazuya into awkward moments, and she crashed a family meeting knowing that Chizuru will be in it, with the intention of sabotaging their cover, with the reason that Kazuya is the one for her and she'll never let go of him, even though it's clear as water that Kazuya doesn't love her. And you know what's worse here? Is that Kazuya is even considering her as an immediate replacement when he thought things are not gonna work out with Chizuru until he got interrupted, which leaves Ruka having this false hope. I know it's hard for her to find a guy who will make her heart race once again, but they should just stop this. It's clearly not working. She needs to get out. As I said earlier, she is a source of useless drama in order to make this series messier than it should be. She's not an essential character. She's not even relevant to the plot. She's just there. At least when mommy brings up the chaos, plot-wise, it kinda makes sense. Cause she's the ex. Even though it's a bit too far that she investigated Chizuru's true nature and told her to stop meeting with Kazuya, despite her treating him like trash, like, why him? But at this moment, she's the most interesting character so far. Sumi, on the other hand, is by default my favorite character. Even though she has less screen time than Haru and Tenten combined, in this context, it's for the best. She needs to stay out as much as possible. So, the first season was bad. Like, really bad. I would not touch season 2 if I were not doing this Mr. Beast challenge. But at this point of the series, I can see some people finding some enjoyment to this. Kinda like hate watching. And at the same time, I could see some people getting invested in the series, considering this was a time when we thought that Kazuya has room for character development and that his romance with Chizuru would develop. Especially when right after the beach incident, his friend told us all of Kazuya's good qualities that are hidden under his loser behavior. Although I think Chizuru is being too kind to help a guy like Kazuya. Like, why are you helping him this much? But still, they were just waiting for that one moment when Kazuya gets his up. That one day he will be Chadsuya, deserving to be with a girl like Chizuru. And season 2 is basically a setup for that. Now, I was expecting this to be worse than season 1 because I saw this anime as a highway to hell, but contrary to popular belief, I think season 2 was slightly better, though not that much. It's still pretty bad. The only reason I enjoyed season 2 more than the first is because the entire season is a bit more focused on setting up Kazuya and Chizuru to the next step in their relationship, and more importantly, Chizuru's backstory. So back in season 1, it was revealed that the reason Chizuru became a rental girlfriend is that so she could practice acting without spending more money on acting schools because she's an aspiring actress. And as continued in season 2, when Kazuya knew about her dream, he decided to watch one of her plays. This play is important to Chizuru, for there is a famous director scouting for some talent. So Chizuru did her best and became the best part of the play. But unfortunately, she was not selected by the director despite her hard work and preparation. As she left the theater, she accidentally ran into Kazuya, finding out that he watched the play. Then after revealing that she wasn't called by the director, Kazuya tried to cheer up Chizuru. And as thanks for keeping up with his bullshit, he decided that he will rent Chizuru more in order to support her dream. Although I think this is some tier 3 sub behavior right here, I still think this is a good step plot-wise, where Kazuya is starting to see Chizuru more as an actual person with dreams and problems rather than just a trophy girlfriend, while Chizuru is starting to see that Kazuya is trying. Their relationship has now become more of friends rather than just business. He even told her that she doesn't need to be in girlfriend mode whenever they go on a date, that he's fine with her being herself. So they started to banter more in the friendly way. Chizuru is now more open to him, and the romantic tension between the two is getting stronger. But because this is Rent a Girlfriend, in case you forgot, of course Kazuya took advantage of this and made her wear a high school uniform. What the hell is this? I thought we were past this. No. Why? Like, why is he now being creepier than usual? I get that Chizuru got promoted, so now she got more perks. It's part of the job. But they're supposed to be friends now. Just hang out like normal people do. Cause you're now at that stage. But we're going back to square one. He's using her again to show off to other people. And the fact that they're both wearing uniforms, like he wants to simulate this ideal high school life he never experienced. Like, I get it, high school sucks, and the only ones who liked high school are the ones who peaked in high school. But this is just miserable, man. Oh, and this is not the worst part of this season. Remember, Ruka exists, and whenever she's on my screen, she is either seducing or forcing herself on him. She even tried to frame Kazuya to Chizuru that they smashed, when it's clear that he is in love with Chizuru and he wasn't having any of this. And Kazuya, instead of completely turning her down, something he should have done a long time ago, he gave another false hope that he will eventually fall in love with her. This fucking guy. Mami, on the other hand, didn't do much in this season except met Ruka, found out that Chizuru is still with Kazuya, and also found Kazuya's family business account. So she's definitely planning something. And to finish off the season, Chizuru's grandma's health is looking really bad. The doctor even said that she doesn't have much time left. So now it's getting harder and harder for them to tell the truth due to the emotional pain they would have caused. Plus, she failed another audition. This is when Chizuru's backstory was fully revealed. That she had no parents, that she was raised by her grandparents, that her grandma was a popular actress which inspired her to pursue acting. This is when it was shown that his grandpa promised her that he will watch her first movie no matter what it takes. But unfortunately, he died after a car accident, and now her grandma is holding that promise for him. This is why Chizuru works 10 times harder than everyone, especially when her grandma's health is starting to get worse. But now she's afraid that even with her hard work, she might never show her grandma the movie that they promised, which also leaves Kazuya feeling worthless and helpless. But after being given moral support from Sumi when he was invited on a date, as a last resort, Kazuya promised her that he would produce her first movie for her grandma. And this leads us to the manga, and to the arc that is so good, it gaslit us into thinking that Rent a Girlfriend is a good show. Like, it is that unironically good. I am not kidding. This arc, which will probably take the entire season 3, will make the anime only stink. It's going to get good starting from now on. Because this is where the love train goes full throttle. Where there are no shenanigans, less Ruka, less virgin behavior, no mommy, and no useless drama. This arc is entirely focused on Kazuya and Chizuru. There will be spoilers from the manga. So continuing the plot from the anime, after Kazuya's research, his plan here is that he wants to make an indie film via crowdfunding. However, he has no experience with this stuff. so he had some setbacks and newbie mistakes, but it doesn't matter if he looks stupid. The only thing on his mind at this moment is making this work. The project needs to raise 1.8 million yen to pay for the equipment, the actors and actresses, the people behind the scenes, the renting of transportation, the renting of shooting locations, and the renting of the movie theater for the screening. And Chizuru accepts, but throughout the brainstorming, she also told him that his grandma must not know anything about it. Also luckily, their other neighbor, Mini Yaemori, heard of this, who is also a YouTuber slash streamer slash VTuber, a priestess jellyfish apparently. Basically, she knows her stuff about online marketing, so she decided to help Kazuya in that regard. Plus, she also became the ultimate wing woman in the manga, because dear lord, they really need one.
Just do it!
Then right after shaking things up between the two, throughout the project, like reaching the goal, hiring the people needed, and making the film, Chizuru is observing Kazuya like she really is falling for him, while Kazuya is getting his shit up. Like in this arc, this guy doesn't miss. The guy actually cooked. And he doesn't do this entirely in hopes of getting it with Chizuru or to make her fall in love with him, but because after witnessing Chizuru at her lowest, hopeless, despite everything she worked for and after everything that she's done for him, what he wants to do now is to help her grant her wish. Plus, it's not like Kazuya isn't getting anything from this. For someone who's pursuing a business course in college and an heir to a family business, this is a good experience for him to learn off. And this is it! This Kazuya is a complete 182... wait. This Kazuya is a 165 degrees compared to who he was. Turns out you can make a good romance story if you didn't f*** in the ass like you always do, Mr. Author. I'm in a good mood right now. I am selectively forgetting all of the Ruka moments in this arc. Now with the movie finished, all is good. The screening is coming, and her grandma, despite her health, still managed to come. Everyone is happy and excited. Her grandma thanked Kazuya for everything and even had a one-on-one talk. Then as he left for preparations, Chizuru wholeheartedly thanked him for everything. But as they're enjoying their company, waiting for the movie, something bad happened. When they found out, they're panicking. Chizuru is shocked. When they're finally at the hospital, they're devastated that not only all of their hard work will be for nothing, Chizuru is about to lose her one relative left. But even with all of this, she is still trying to act strong, like this is somehow nothing to her, and Kazuya is having none of it. He even told her that she should tell the truth about their relationship, regardless of what her grandma thinks of him. He wants her to have no regrets before the inevitable happens. Kazuya wants Chizuru, for the first time, to think about her feelings. And as Chizuru went to the emergency room, Kazuya thought of something and hurriedly left. And when he came back, he has a laptop and projector. He immediately played the movie and left the two alone. Chizuru is crying and pleading for her grandma to wake up. She finally has the movie. She's this close. And now she starts to feel more hopeless than before. Then, after a while, her grandma barely woke up, struggling to open her eyes. But at least, she managed to see a glimpse of her granddaughter on the screen. Then her memories with her husband and Chizuru played back. Happy to see how far her granddaughter has become. The promise has been fulfilled, even if it's just for 10 minutes. But that is not all. Chizuru has one thing left to do. She's contemplating whether she should tell the truth. Is it better for her grandma to not know the truth and let her pass away with blissful ignorance? Or is it better for her to tell the truth to your final relative with no regrets, with respect to her grandma, with respect to herself, but with the potential of making her sad before passing? She doesn't know. And after another while, her grandma woke up again and comforted her. Chizuru is stuttering. She really don't know if she's supposed to say it or not. But right at the middle of the confession, her grandma stopped her. She said that she doesn't want to know, but what she knows is her granddaughter has already grown into a woman who can move forward despite everything. And she's already happy with that. And after a heartful exchange of words with each other, Chizuru's grandma passed away. Days have passed. Right after Kazuya told Yaemori everything, he met Chizuru, but something's off. So Kazuya tried to tell her if she's okay. that he's here when she needs help. Then Chizuru turned around and said with a beautiful smile, "I'm fine." That time he realized that she's in her girlfriend mode once again, trying to hide all of her pain. So during and after the funeral, he's been thinking of what to do. However, he doesn't know if he should interfere. But after another meeting with Sumi, giving her advice and moral support like the angel that she is, he realized that if he can't support her as a boyfriend does, and if as a friend she keeps insisting that she's fine, then there's only one way to solve this. He decided to rent Chizuru. This is supposed to be the scene where it all goes full circle. Compared to the first episode when Kazuya rented Chizuru out of frustration and insecurity, but after all that happened, this date is not for Kazuya to feed his ego and to act immature. This has even nothing to do with the fake relationship that they've been keeping from everyone. All of this is just for Chizuru. So, the date has come. Kazuya is there and Chizuru is acting strong like nothing happened. They went to check on some clothes, watch a movie that she would like, but of course she would notice that he was planning something. But Kazuya insisted to play along. The plan is to let Chizuru relax, unwind, and enjoy the moment, so Kazuya planned the best places to go and thought about the things that Chizuru would like. And then when the time comes, when her guard is slowly slipping, she can finally let out all of her pain due to her grandma's passing. And it's kinda working. Without his knowledge, she is actually enjoying. And there were times when she was reminded of her grandma. But despite all of the fun they had, she still put on a tough girl act. And with this, out of Kazuya's desperation, he had enough. He basically did an indirect confession to Chizuru. He told him about what makes an ideal girlfriend, and he told her everything from how beautiful she is, how naggy she is, how kind she is, and how tough she really is. And how sometimes when things go south, she also cries. A tear fell down. Memories of her grandma flashed again. Until now, she tries to act tough, but even with her stern face, even with the wiping, the tears just keep flowing. The emotions are now starting to sink into her. The fact that her grandma is really gone is starting to come across her, until she just can't take it anymore. Chizuru finally cried. This is the peak of what the series has to offer. In fact, this is what the series should have been. A good, fake couple turns real series despite the admittedly still weird premise, where they start to know each other and thus deepen their relationship, and definitely nothing else. If the bad things about seasons 1 and 2 were not there, and then this is what awaits you when you read the manga, I would bet that everyone and their mothers would be recommending this series. I realized this while I am in this arc, that this journey is not even a descension from hell, but a very rough and slow rise to the heavens, except even before reaching heaven, I dropped so hard I pierced to the depths of hell, because as the author usually did, he really had to fuck this up. Well, just like they say, when you're on the top, the only way to go is down. So right after this arc, it's been revealed that Mami has been contacting Kazuya's grandma all this time, just for business purposes, because she apparently knows how to cater to the young internet people. And then Kazuya's grandma also announced that there will be an outing later on. So with all of the character progression of Kazuya and Chizuru so far, of course we expect that before and during the trip, they would have just got the chance to confess, right? I mean, Kazuya technically did, despite being indirect about it. Kazuya even promised in this arc that he will turn this lie into truth, so he has to confess, which at least gives this series a proper ending, right? Nope, they decided to drag it out. I'm an idiot for asking. Like, right after the movie arc, this is the best visual representation of what's happening in the chapters. Why are we turning back? She basically showed her weakest state to Kazuya, and she does have feelings for him, and she knows that Kazuya wants to confess. So what's stopping you? And and of course, we're not gonna forget about Ruka, cause oh my god, Kazuya literally said straight up that she likes Chizuru, and he's begging on his knees to stop the relationship. And you know what Ruka said? She said that she knows that, but they're still not breaking up apparently. Like, what are you fighting for? He's not gonna fall in love with you, no matter how much you forced yourself into him. I mean, this woman, she even framed Kazuya to Chizuru that they apparently smashed for the second time, which gave another unnecessary drama as a terrible attempt to spice things up. You know what? This is the last time I am talking about Ruka. It's a waste of time, my energy, and my remaining sanity. All she did was to be annoying and be a terrible person without being helpful to the overall narrative. I am done with her. Well, at least Mami is a part of the plot. So at the surprise of everyone, except the readers, she was on the trip as well, as Kazuya's grandma's associate. And her main goal here really is to make Chizuru spill the beans, or she will. Of course, she had that two-faced bitchiness you could expect from her, like pretending all is fine to Kazuya while she's literally blackmailing Chizuru, guilt-tripping her about not telling the truth and kinda gaslighting her, saying that she's the victim and Kazuya is a loser, a terrible person. And it's funny because the manga is expecting us to say, nah, my boy Kazuya, he's a changed man. He's a Chad now. Episode 1 Kazuya is dead. And it should be that way, but with the current chapters at this moment, it says otherwise. This is a bad case of where the villain is actually kinda right, but still, Chizuru defended him. So now everyone is wondering, why is Mommy such a bitch? What led her into being this terrible person? Why does she love tormenting Kazuya? Well, her backstory has been revealed, and I don't like the implications they're giving here. So Mami was born in a rich family. However, his father is really strict. She wasn't allowed to do things a normal young girl should do. She was enrolled in an all-girls high school, and his father already arranged a wedding for her for political or business reasons. Basically, her father has an iron grip on her life. But that doesn't stop her from having a boyfriend. She met Taro by playing online mobile games, and then they hit it off. They are your typical teenage couple, did some dates and had some childish fights, but it was fun according to her. But unfortunately, her father found out about her boyfriend and told her to break up with him. And this is when Mami snapped about her life being controlled, but her father retaliated, leaving Mami devastated. Then, his father approached the boyfriend, assuming that he was either threatened or paid by the father to leave her. Thus, he broke up with her. And Mami cried. This is when she changed into the person she is today. She hates happy couples and superficial relationships. It gives her the urge to ruin these, explaining why she's that hellbent on destroying Kazuya's love life. Now, what is this image? This image has two interpretations because the author made it vague enough for the readers to question. 1. The literal interpretation where Mami got pregnant by Taro, and then this panel implies that she suffered a miscarriage due to emotional stress. This interpretation is even posted on their unofficial wiki page. The second one were allegedly from an interview with Reiji Miyajima, which the fandom also believes this is canon. Correct me on this one. Allegedly, he said that this is a metaphor for Mami losing her inner child or baby, and now she has to follow her father's wishes in exchange for her happiness, which caused her to be this way. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but including the miscarriage is kinda out of tone, and I really felt a bit uncomfortable when I was reading this chapter. Like, I expected Mami's backstory to be a troubling one, but I think they kinda went a bit too far. Like, here, there is nothing wrong with bringing up sensitive topics in the story, but they should be handled carefully because the topic is sensitive. And I think here are my conditions for that. First, does it fit the tone of the story? In this context, no. Usually, these topics are depicted on seinen, drama, a dark fantasy, or basically any show with a serious tone. Rent a Girlfriend is a rom-com, romantic comedy. It's supposed to be lighthearted. So why add this in a rom-com? I mean, the strict father story is heavy enough. So why? Which leads us to the second condition. Is it necessary for that character? Well, no. I mean, the fact that there's this lighter metaphorical interpretation says a lot. It doesn't need a sensitive topic. You can remove the whole miscarriage thing and the impact of the backstory will stay the same. Mami will still become the same character that she is today. So now, instead of feeling all of the sadness of Mami's backstory, it felt a bit off due to the drastic change of tone. But even with that, I still think Mami is the best written character in the series because her character has a bit of a layer, which isn't saying much. I mean, at the end of this arc, Chizuru even questioned, why Kazuya? There are other couples out there, but she's obsessed with Kazuya, meaning there's definitely more to this than we know, which I think will be answered in the future. Not reading it though. But moving on. So back again in the middle of the arc, Mami is losing her patience. Chizuru still doesn't want to spill the beans, or worse, admit to herself that she's in love with a guy she actually loves. Meanwhile, Kazuya fails every attempt at confession since after the movie arc. But this particular one is important because Chizuru is paranoid about the secret being out and she got a message from Mami while Kazuya is about to make another confession attempt. But due to the Mami emergency, she said sorry. This led to Kazuya assuming she knows he was about to confess but rejected him anyways because the same Chizuru who cried in your arms is supposedly the same Chizuru who will coldly ignore you like you're not even her friend. It's almost like the movie arc never happened. I fucking love this manga. And thus, we're now at the infamous chapter 218. Now, when I was reading this manga, I did not know what chapter they were talking about that changed this series forever. But when I finished reading it, I knew this was the one. Because I was just expecting another common Kazuya L that made the readers tired of him. I mean, how could it be worse, right? But boy, it was way worse. Kazuya is heartbroken because of his stupid misunderstanding, and because of all of this sadness and self-deprecation, he began to fantasize about Chizuru with other men. And no, this is not a short clip like before. This chapter is softcore doujin. Obviously, I can't show it to you, but what I can show you is this infamous panel of Kazuya crying while visibly aroused. A huge portion of his character development gone. My seriousness when I look at their relationship, gone. Like, this is character assassination. He can never recover from this. In fact, this series can never recover from this. Because no matter what progression they may have in the next chapters, it doesn't matter. Because, really? Chizuru, you're in love with this guy?
I'm a cock. I'm a fucking cock, guys. Yo, like, share, and subscribe.
No matter how much he changed throughout the 200 chapters, this chapter showed that Kazuya is still the same as he was in episode 1. A loser. And this also happened right after Chizuru defended him against Mami. Like, why are you making him look bad? He doesn't need to have a character withdrawal, cause the fans have endured his bullshit for so long that development is the only thing Kazuya needs to do to make the journey worth it. Oh, and there's more. What's worse about this is after a few chapters, Mami would eventually reveal it to everyone by accidentally dropping her phone with the transaction for everyone to see, framing Chizuru for forcing her to hide this as a secret. So Kazuya confessed anyway, full on, saying that she was a rental but eventually fell in love with each other, and as a sign of proof, they kissed, like full on lips to lips contact. Then also confessed to everyone, and then I was like, then what is the purpose of this chapter? Why destroy his character when he's gonna confess anyway? This should have been the climax of the whole series. This scene should have been the ultimate confession scene. But all this chapter did is destroy Kazuya's character further, destroy the series altogether, and made its longtime fans look like idiots for investing their time in this series. If you're insane enough to still support the manga, good for you. You also probably ate glue when you were a kid. What I am saying is, Kazuya maybe is the biggest clown in anime history, but we're the joke for watching 2 seasons and reading hundreds of chapters only to get this. And apparently, this sunken ship has to go on. So, everyone knew the truth, but not really. What they know is that they had a fake relationship that became true in the end. But what they don't know is that their relationship is pretty much still unofficial. Because after the trip, after hearing Kazuya's confession, like the mature woman Chizuru is, she left him on red for 3 months. And because of this, Kazuya turned into a NEET for the same 3 months. Forget back to square one, just stop playing the goddamn board game. Chizuru acts like a child, and Kazuya became a man no sane woman would ever fall in love with. But they eventually meet up. Chizuru apologized and said that she didn't know what her feelings are for him, so he has to wait. And then they started bonding again. They even had this sweet conversation going on, but it's hard to take it seriously considering what this series has become. Then an emergency happened, their apartment is collapsing, so they had to find another place to live. So after consideration, Kazuya and Yaemori decided to live in Chizuru's home, so of course they had the same bathroom, they lived together, and Kazuya acted like a normal person. I'm in denial. Then there's this scene where right after Chizuru takes a bath, it's Kazuya's turn, and instead of draining the bath water like the normal person that he is, he took a bath using Chizuru's bath water with imagery of her embracing him. And that's Rent a Girlfriend, everyone. I could have done literally anything, and I chose this. Now, if you want to make sure that all of my sufferings are worth it, you can like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe if you're not. It really helps. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll have my therapy by watching a good anime, like this one. And if you wanna know why it's good, click or tap the video. See you next time.